Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands!
Your hands right here! Oh, you gonna
Bikers can be pretty crazy, but things can get even crazier when the cops start chasing them. In this video, I will take you on a ride through the craziest motorcycle chase caught on Dashcam. So take out your helmets and let's get going. It's going to be one hell of a ride. Number 1, Maniac. Well, this one will make you feel that hint of crazy. The police got a bunch of calls about some motorcyclist tearing down the highway like a maniac, weaving in and out of traffic. It was clear that this guy was a danger, so the officers sprung into action to track him down. After a bit of searching, they spot the culprit. But this wasn't a guy who would pull over and chat. Nope, he guns it, and the chase is on. Here's where it gets interesting. The officer behind the wheel was in a massive Dodge Charger, 2 tons of muscle. Not to mention, the brakes weren't in top shape because of the car's weight, but you wouldn't know it from the way the officer handles it. Meanwhile, the motorcyclist was pulling all sorts of stunts, darting through traffic, making the chase super dangerous. You can feel the tension as the officer tries to keep up and bring the guy in safely. Then, out of nowhere, the motorcyclist loses control and wipes out in the grassy median. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? But nope. This guy's got some moves. He pops right up, goes across 2 lanes of traffic, and vanishes into the woods like he's part ninja. The officers searched high and low, but the motorcyclist was gone without a trace. Truly crazy. Number 2, dead. If you've recovered from the first one, here's another crazy one. So here's what went down in this one. This guy was speeding down I-95 super fast at 100 miles an hour, like in those action movies. You'd think that would be the craziest thing to happen, right? But then the cops arrived, with lights flashing and sirens blaring, trying to stop him. But well, things got out of hand. Despite their efforts, the chase ended tragically, and the guy on the motorcycle died. The motorcycle driver couldn't hit the brakes on time and crashed into a car, sustaining fatal injuries. It's sad and reminds us how fast things can go wrong on the road. Number 3, Lynchburg. This video from Lynchburg will give you goosebumps. A 44-year-old man named Lewis Edward Field got himself into some serious trouble after a wild late-night chase through the city. He was arrested and pleaded guilty to 2 charges, trying to escape the police and driving without a valid license. Here's what went down. So it was early past 12 at night when a state trooper saw Fields zooming on his motorcycle. Fields was driving recklessly, going way faster than he should, swerving through traffic and even driving into oncoming cars sometimes. The chase went all over the city streets, and it was all caught on video and shown in court later. It all came to a stop when Fields tried to brake on some wet grass while still going too fast. He crashed his bike into a curb and then tried to run away, but the police caught him pretty quickly. It was a dangerous situation, and Fields ended up getting arrested. Since that night, Fields has been in jail without the chance of getting out on bail. Don't be like Fields. Number 4, fool. Well, you shouldn't do these dangerous stunts anyway, but doing that while the police are chasing you, that's definitely a death wish. As you can see in this video, the guy is standing on the bike and moving it around like he's got an extra life from God. It's absolutely reckless and shows a complete disregard for his own safety and the safety of others. No thrill is worth risking your life for, especially in such a reckless manner. Number 5, fatal chase. Determining fault in a tragic incident like a fatal motorcycle accident can be quite complex. Without knowing all the details, it's challenging to assign blame definitively. Factors such as the motorcyclist's behavior, the police pursuit tactics, and the actions of other road users all need careful consideration. Was the motorcyclist engaging in dangerous behavior? Did the police pursuit escalate the situation? Were there any other contributing factors on the road? Only through a thorough investigation can we be sure of these questions and help establish responsibilities. This case was a horrible one because it's hard to put the blame on any of them. As the police started chasing the motorcyclist, he didn't stop and continued to drive recklessly, avoiding the police throughout. However, luck wasn't on his side, as he crashed and died on the spot. Number 6, 150 miles per hour. In this video, there's this unmarked police motorcycle chasing after 5 bikers, zooming at 150 miles per hour. Now, these bikers probably thought they were untouchable with their Super fast bikes, right? But surprise, the police had an unmarked Honda VFR 1200F with 170 horsepower ready to chase them down. The police even clocked the bikers at 140 miles per hour using their own calibrated vehicle. In the video, you can see the officer weaving through the group, pulling up next to the leader, who was still going at about 100 mph and yelling to pull over. Can you imagine the BMW S1000RR rider's face at that moment? Well, after all that excitement, the 5 bikers had to face court hearings. Bet they weren't expecting that twist in their joyride. Number 7. In trouble. Well, you might as well hold your breath for this one. The video shows a chase with deputies that ended with a crash and a few bruises. This one happened early morning, around 2:30 a.m. Deputies say the rider was 43-year-old Marcus Eugene Smith of Noonan. He was being chased after he refused to pull over for speeding and other traffic violations. Any chase is dangerous for everyone involved, but chasing a motorcycle brings a different level of danger. Deputies ran Smith's license plate and found out he didn't have a motorcycle license. Things took a turn at Noonan Lakes Road when Smith tried to slide out of control. Smith now faces charges of reckless driving, fleeing and attempting to elude, failure to stop at a stop sign, and having the wrong class of license. This footage shows that after the wreck, it seemed like Smith was going to comply, but then he made a run for it. Deputies were worried Marcus Smith might have been injured in the accident, so they took him to Piedmont Newton Hospital. However, Smith refused to let doctors check him out or treat him. From there, he was taken to the county jail. Number 8. Arkansas. Wow. Have you guys seen this video of a motorcyclist in Arkansas who got engulfed in flames after a trooper used a taser on him? It's like something straight out of a movie. Seriously, that guy turned into Ghost Rider for a moment there. So here's what went down. This motorcyclist was speeding around recklessly, and the cops were on his tail. Eventually, they caught up to him, and one of the officers decided to use a taser to bring him under control. But then, out of nowhere, the guy bursts into flames. Turns out he was carrying a container of gasoline, and when the taser hit him, it ignited the fuel. This whole thing has got people talking about how tasers are used. Like, should there be more rules around them, especially if there's a chance something like this could happen? Reactions are all over the place. Some people are saying the cops should have handled it differently to avoid such a dangerous situation. Others point out that the motorcyclist wasn't exactly making smart choices either. Speeding around with gasoline, not the best idea. And then there are the Ghost Rider jokes in the comments section too. It's hard not to make the connection with the guy literally turning into a human fireball. Number 9. Calgary. Have you guys seen this crazy motorcycle chase through the streets of Calgary? It's like something that will keep you up at night. The guy was going absolutely nuts on the roads. The police were trying to catch him, and it turned into a high-speed chase all over the city. You can see from the footage that he's totally out of control, dodging cars and barely missing pedestrians. It's honestly a miracle he didn't crash into anyone. The whole thing is super intense. You can see him zooming through red lights, taking sharp turns, and just being completely reckless. I mean, he could have easily bumped into someone or caused a serious accident. People were literally diving out of the way to avoid getting hit. Eventually, the chase ended when the police managed to corner him. But not before he gave everyone quite a scare. It's crazy to see how far some people will go to evade the cops. But seriously, when you're putting so many lives at risk, it's just not worth it. What do you guys think? Should the police have different tactics for these kinds of situations? Or is it just the risk that comes with the job? Number 10. California. This rider was apparently pulling off some crazy stunts in a parking lot, and when the cops rolled up, they hit the gas and bolted onto the freeway. They were tearing through Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties, zipping east and then looping back west, hitting speeds well over 130 miles per hour. Talk about a serious adrenaline kick, huh? After this heart-pounding jaunt on the freeway, they briefly dipped into the East San Gabriel Valley before hopping right back onto the 60 freeway. But hold on to your seats, because here's where it gets even crazier. They decided to exit the freeway in Ontario and start cruising through side streets. And here's the thing, right? Less than 10 minutes later, the rider decides to call it quits. They pulled over, shut down the bike, and surrendered without a fuss. Can you imagine the relief for everyone involved? It's just mind-blowing to think about the risks tied up in these high-speed chases. I mean, who knows what could have gone down with speeds like that? Thankfully, this one wrapped up without any injuries. But it really makes you think about the mindset of someone who'd take off like that in the first place, doesn't it? Number 11. Lithuania. Over in Lithuania, Lithuania, there was quite a chase involving the police and a motorist whose vehicle wasn't registered. Things took a crazy turn when the motorist slipped from his motorcycle and got accidentally run over by the police car. Luckily, he didn't suffer any serious injuries, but this could have gotten worse. There's talk that the motorist might have been under the influence of alcohol during the incident. Number 12. Pemberton Township Police Department. As you watch the video, you will see that there's this pretty intense situation involving two people, John Nutt and his passenger, cruising on a motorcycle. Officer Laquan Jet from the Pemberton Township Police Department tried to flag them down because of some incident. But guess what? They decided to hit the gas and make a run for it, starting a wild chase. Things took a turn for the worse during the chase when the motorcycle crashed into a minivan that wasn't even part of the original deal. This all went down on County Route 687 West, near Davis Street. It's really tough news. John Nutt didn't make it through the crash. His passenger, whose name we don't know, got pretty banged up and had to be airlifted to Cooper University Hospital. They were in rough shape at first, but luckily, they pulled through and got out of the hospital eventually. Thankfully, the people in the minivan were all right and didn't need any medical attention. It's just a really sad story with some heavy consequences. Let's all just take a step back and remember to drive safely and watch out for each other on the roads, okay? Number 13. Ohio State Highway Patrol. Have you guys ever seen this dashcam footage the Ohio State Highway Patrol released? It's pretty crazy. You can see this intense police chase with a motorcyclist, and then suddenly, the guy wipes out. The cops immediately stop to check on him, but by the time they get there, it's too late. It's one of those moments where you can feel the tension through the screen. You can tell the officers are genuinely concerned, rushing to help as soon as they can. But tragically, they couldn't get there in time to make a difference. It shows how quickly things can turn during a chase. One moment, you're speeding along. The next, you're fighting for your life. And for the police, it's a tough balance between catching the suspect and making sure everyone stays safe. Number 14. Massachusetts. So, in Wakefield, Massachusetts, things got pretty dicey during a regular traffic stop when a motorcyclist decided to try and dodge a state police officer. The officer was just doing their job, making sure everyone follows the rules and stays safe on the roads. They pulled over the motorcyclist for some violation, but instead of playing it cool, the motorcyclist decided to make a wild run for it, putting both themselves and the officer in danger. Stuff got really intense real quick as the motorcyclist, totally ignoring the officer's orders, revved up their engine and tried to plow right through the officer to make a getaway. Talk about bold moves, huh? But let's be real, that kind of stunt isn't just breaking the law, it's risking the lives of everyone out there on the road. Thankfully, though, the state police officer had some serious skills and fast reflexes. They managed to prevent what could have been a really awful situation. It's a good reminder that trying to outsmart the law on the road isn't just reckless, it's downright dangerous. Number 15, Oregon. All right, let's break this video down. Justin Wilkins was just cruising along in Eugene, Oregon, on his motorcycle back in 2012. Suddenly, he's pulled over by Captain Rob Edwards of the Oregon State Police. Now, this wasn't your ordinary traffic stop. Things got heated really fast. During the encounter, Wilkins ended up with a broken collarbone, all while Edwards insisted he was just doing his job according to police policies. If you're curious, here's some more info. Fast forward to the courtroom drama. Edwards is testifying, claiming he did everything by the book. But the jury didn't quite buy it. They sided with Wilkins, saying Edwards violated his civil rights. Ouch. And look at this. Wilkins didn't even realize Edwards was a cop because his car wasn't marked. Talk about a mix-up. So what's the fallout? Well, Wilkins filed a lawsuit not just for his medical bills and motorcycle repairs, but also for the violation of his rights. The jury awarded him damages, highlighting the importance of accountability in law enforcement. Number 16, Eden Prairie. Wow, talk about a tense situation. So here's the rundown. In Eden Prairie, Minnesota, back in 2015, Sergeant Lonnie Sopland found himself in the middle of a high-speed chase with Matthew Hovland Gnaze. things escalated quickly, with speeds topping 110 miles per hour. Eventually, Hovland Knars pulls over, and Sopland, understandably on edge, steps out of his squad car with his gun drawn. But as soon as you catch a breath, a shot rings out, and Hovland Knars ends up with a bullet in his arm. You can imagine the chaos that followed: Sopland's expletives, Hovland Knars' cries of pain, and the immediate rush to administer aid. What's really interesting is Sopland's explanation for the mistake. He said it was because he was super stressed at the moment, and his training from just 20 days before kicked in without him realizing it. It shows how quick decisions in really tough situations can have big consequences. The fact that this whole thing was caught on video makes it even more serious. Afterward, Sopland acted fast to help and said he was sorry, which was really good. It also makes you think about finding better ways to deal with stress and making sure officers know how to handle tough situations without using deadly force unless they really have to. Number 17, Wisconsin. Well, talk about a wild ride. In Wisconsin, things got pretty wild when a motorcyclist crashed into a police car. But hold on to your seats, you guys, because it didn't stop there. The whole thing got caught on the police car's dashcam, and it didn't end with just a simple crash. Believe it or not, after slamming into the police car, this gutsy motorcyclist decided to really spice things up by flipping off the camera. Yep, you heard that right. A bold move caught on tape for everyone to see. Now, while it might sound like a scene from an action movie, the truth is, pulling stunts like this can lead to serious trouble. Not only did this motorcyclist put themselves in harm's way with the crash, but giving the finger to law enforcement officers. That's just asking for even more trouble. Number 18, Brazil's craziness. A wild motorcycle chase happening in Brazil. It's like watching a movie, but real. The streets are busy with cars and people, but in the middle of it all, there's a motorcyclist being chased by the police. This motorcyclist is skilled, dodging and weaving through traffic like a pro. It's like something you'd see in a James Bond movie, but even more intense. As the chase goes on, the motorcyclist keeps making crazy moves to get away. But it's dangerous, not just for them, but for everyone around them too. Finally, after a lot of excitement, the police catch up and the chase ends. Number 19, Thailand chase. Wow, looks like quite the scene in Thailand. Funniest one so far, actually. You are not ready for this one. This will make you feel a tinge of happiness and sadness at the same time. Here is what happened. A young Thai biker zipping through the city streets, trying to outrun a police biker hot on their tail. But here's the twist. The police were on a mission to nab a gang of teenagers causing mischief on their bikes. Now, imagine the young bikers' reaction when they realize they're the target of the police chase. Instead of playing it cool, they react in the funniest way possible, like something straight out of a comedy movie. Picture them pleading, maybe even shedding a tear or two, as they desperately try to avoid getting caught. It's definitely a funny moment in the middle of all the chaos, isn't it? But beyond the laughter, there's a little lesson hidden away about the fallout from breaking the rules. Sure, it might seem like a good laugh at first, but getting nabbed by the police is serious business, and it's always smarter to stick to the straight and narrow. Number 20, crazy crash. Oh boy, talk about a crazy ride in Brazil. As you guys can see in the video, there's this biker, let's call him Pinote, zooming through the streets, trying to give the police the slip. It's like a real-life game of cat and mouse. Pinote's feeling pretty confident, thinking he's got this escape all figured out. Just when he's about to make his great getaway, disaster strikes. He crashes right into a pole. Ouch, talk about a major failure. Can you imagine the scene? 1 minute, Pinote's thinking he's outsmarted the cops, and the next, he's face to face with a pole. It's like something out of a slapstick comedy, but in real life. Sure, it's a bit funny to think about, but crashing like that can be pretty serious. Number 21, James Bond in real life. Hold onto your seat because this motorcycle chase is like something out of a movie. It's the police versus a biker with a passenger that's called a pillion in biker talk, and let me tell you, it's pretty wild. As you watch, you'll see the motorcycles zooming through traffic super fast. It's like a race, but with the police chasing after the biker and their passenger. You'll feel the excitement as they dodge cars and take sharp turns. But here's the thing, right? It's not just fun and games. This chase is really dangerous. The streets become like a battlefield, with sirens blaring and engines roaring. It's intense. Watching it might make you feel a bit dizzy because there's so much going on. But remember, real life isn't like the movies. That was a wild ride through some of the craziest motorcycle chases caught on Dashcam. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of adrenaline and drama, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. And if you want to stay updated on more thrilling content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe on the roads.